North America almost touches Asia at the Bering Straits. Only 52 miles separate the two continents. Hardy Eskimos inhabit the Diomede Islands that lie midway in the straits, the larger one belonging to Siberia, the smaller one to Alaska, with less than 3 miles of water separating them. It is spring. The great Arctic ice pack has broken, and the most important time of the year is on hand, time for the great walrus hunt. Sharp eyes are constantly on the lookout. When the herds are sighted, comes the cry, "Ivrit, umiakta," walrus, to the boats, and they are off. Sturdy umiaks filled with hunters glide through the still waters and are soon among the walrus. Rifles crack and spears are poised, and the hunt is on. The Indians of the plains are often called the buffalo people because the teeming herds of bison gave them the most important items of their economy. In Eskimo land, the natives could be aptly called the walrus people, as this huge creature of the sea gives just about everything necessary for their existence. Meat and oil for food and fuel, tough hides for boat hulls, thongs and ropes and waterproof roofing, dried intestines for waterproof outer clothing, and prized ivory tusks for carving art objects and trinkets that sell for ready money to purchase needs and luxuries. That is why the annual walrus hunt is so important. It comes with the ice breakup and only lasts a few weeks. As the Eskimos must get all they need for the whole year, they work intensely and around the clock. Eskimos usually have light calibered rifles, and many hits must be registered before the walrus succumbs. The great Siberian walrus is a huge animal. Many of them weigh between 2 and 3 tons. Spears are very important in the hunt. A dead walrus sinks, so while he is still surfaced, the hunter must cast his spear into the body. A barbed ivory point remains in the flesh, the shaft comes free, floats, and is recovered, and a long rawhide thong attached to the point pays out as the walrus goes down the bottom. At the end of the rope, an inflated bladder remains on the surface to mark the spot. The hunt goes on in all intensity until the walrus scatter and disappear. Then the Eskimos get ready to pull the slain animals to nearby ice floes and start butchering. A baby seal makes for the water as his ice home is invaded. The umiak is anchored to the moving floe. They have no lifting rigs, so the Eskimos just use strength of numbers to pull the heavy creature onto the ice. It is a community affair and everyone works. Speed is necessary to cut the large carcass into pieces small enough to handle. All the time the ice is drifting northward into the Arctic Ocean, and they must not get too far from home. If a storm blew up, they would lose their meat and even endanger their lives. The cliffs of the rocky island in the background rise several hundred feet from sea level and form the side of a flat rocky tableland a few square miles in area. It is the Soviet Diomede, and sentries and weather observers are always on watch. Contrary to popular notion, there are no airfields or military fortifications of importance on the island. In Bering Straits, it is simply an axiom of you mind your business and we will mind ours. Walrus live on clams and sea moss, and one of the first things is to rip open the walrus stomach and get a supply of nice fresh clams. The Eskimos prize them as a delicacy. It is a gory spectacle, but after all, it is their livelihood and their way of doing things, and their survival depends on the success of the walrus hunt. All the time they are working, the umiak is anchored to the moving floe. There is the Russian Diomede Island, and off in the distance, Siberia. Travel between the islands has in recent years been forbidden, although the Eskimos of both islands are one people. Once the meat is ashore, the women take over. With sharp triangular knives, they cut the blubber from the hides. Teeth are employed in holding the skins, as this enables them to use both hands in work. Also, it builds up very strong teeth and jaw muscles. The nice white blubber is collected into large containers and allowed to render into a fine, colorless, odorless oil, rich in vitamin D for consumption, and also excellent as fuel oil for cooking and house heating. I once sent 5 gallons of walrus oil to the engineering school at my University of Santa Clara. It ran a diesel engine as effectively as conventional fuel oil. So if you are ever cruising the Arctic and run out of fuel, a walrus could keep you going to the nearest refueling station. Walrus hide is thick, about 3/4 of an inch. When dried in this thickness, it would be too hard and inflexible to be practical. The Eskimo women show great skill in splitting walrus skins. They split them not into 2 halves, but into 2 equal portions, each one strong and thick enough for practical use. The split walrus skins are sewn together into a hull for the umiaks. When not in use, the umiak is placed upside down on a rack to dry out. Eskimo children enjoy the walrus season. It is fun to watch everyone else work while they play. water Mongol, sharpening her knife. This young mother takes great pride in showing off her new baby. On the Ramparts of Two Worlds, we see this interesting spot pass in review below us. First, the American Eskimo village of the Little Diomede, then the 3 miles of water separating today from yesterday, then the frowning rampart of the Russian Diomede. Sentries hidden on every peak. Our American Diomeders carry on their daily work. An Eskimo Rebecca, garbed in the latest Sears Roebuck fashions, draws water at the well. Her companion, a babysitter with the baby in the rumble seat. Diomede Island is granite rock, and seams of pure melted snow provide the best drinking water of the far north. Hundreds of thousands of seabirds come to the Diomede Islands to nest and rear their young. The eggs and birds provide a welcome change of food for the Eskimos. Ordinary methods of hunting with guns might frighten the birds away, so the Diomeders have their own unique way of capturing them. Ipaluk is starting out with his bird hunting gear to get his Sunday dinner. On the way, he gets his vegetables in the free market. It is spring, and the edible roots and greens are just starting. At the base of this grass-like plant grows the Eskimo potato. When fully grown, it is about the size of a sweet potato and is pure starch. Ipaluk gets his bird catcher assembled. It is somewhat like a butterfly net. A hook bent from driftwood has a net of tough walrus thong attached to it. This is lashed to a long pole. An Eskimo can tie a tighter knot with his teeth than he can with his hands. Another reason why their teeth are so strong. They use them. Birds are flying by the thousands, so Ipaluk gets behind a rock shelter and waits. A bird hovers close. A swish of the net, and he has it. Gulls, auklets, murres, merlets, and sea parrots, they are there in thousands. Ipaluk has a wife and 7 children, so he will need about a score of birds. Also, I asked him to catch some for me. I tried all day and couldn't even hit one. A system used on the Iberian Peninsula to catch wild pigeons is also employed by the Eskimos. The birds are only stunned in the net, so the hunter ties them to a string stretched between rocks. The birds flutter and attract the attention of their flying kin, who swoop down to see what the fluttering is all about, and they soon flutter too. On the mainland, Eskimos also net birds, but instead of the Diomede method, which requires great skill, they throw large nets with stones attached to the circumference at flying birds and net them like fish. While Ipaluk was catching my dinner, I was enjoying the rugged Eskimo dogs of the island. They run free and develop aggressiveness and independence. Docile to their masters, they test out strangers. They nip you and see how much you will take. If you show fear, they will, Oriental style, really bite and harass you. But if you call their bluff and show no fear, they respect and idolize you, even to embarrassment. they became very interested in me and extremely affectionate. A dog kiss lasts for days. The Diomeders are very friendly and hospitable and are excellent Catholics. Their village is clean and neat. And though in sight always of their Soviet neighbors on the Big Diomede Island, who are notorious for dirt and filth, you will find wash on the line all the time, and the keynote of cleanliness in this American Eskimo group. A job reserved for the small boys is gathering the myrrh eggs for the year's supply. The eggs are laid on flat rocks and the birds build no nests. Like chickens, they keep on laying eggs as fast as the Eskimos take them and store them away for the winter. Note the shape of these myrrh eggs. Instead of the usual round shape, they are more pointed like a top. When the wind blows, this shape causes them to roll around their point like a top and not fall off the rock. Divine Providence always takes care of the survival of its creatures. When the eggs are gathered, they are always divided among whoever needs them. First the elders and their parents, and then the children divide among themselves. With religious piety, some are always first brought to the missionary. I thanked the lad who supplied me and went about getting them ready for supper. Maybe you are interested in their taste. After all, an egg is an egg, no matter what lays it. I will admit that these myrrh eggs are strong, yes, very, very strong, but have excellent food values. They are tough, too, something like an automobile tire. One evening, there was a beautiful sunset. With my camera, I silhouetted the cross of my little chapel in the glow over distant Siberia. Here I was enjoying all the freedoms of my beloved America in security and religious tranquility, while only a few miles away, the sun was setting on the satanic world of communism, where all freedoms are denied through force. Let us pray God that his peace may dominate both worlds. North America almost touches Asia at the Bering Straits. Only 52 miles separate the two continents. Hardy Eskimos inhabit the Diomede Islands that lie midway in the straits, the larger one belonging to Siberia, the smaller one to Alaska, with less than 3 miles of water separate to the boats, and they are off. Sturdy umiaks filled with hunters glide through the still waters and are soon among the walrus. Rifles crack and spears are poised, and the hunt is on. The Indians of the plain them. It is spring. The great Arctic ice pack has broken, and the most important time of the year is on hand. Time for the great walrus hunt. Sharp eyes are constantly on the lookout, When the herds are sighted, comes the cry, Ivrit, Umiakta, walrus. Are often called the buffalo people because the teeming herds of bison gave them the most important items of their economy. In Eskimo land, the natives could be aptly called the walrus people, as this huge creature of the sea gives just about everything necessary for their existence: meat and oil for food and fuel,